But we should be live. The echo, I hope, is not there anymore, nor is the latency issue. If there is a bit of a latency, cut us some slack, but I don't think it should be a lot as compared to yesterday, nor should there be echo anymore. But if there is, let us know,
Yeah,
please.
let us know in the comments if
But
you
hey,
all are
guys.
still here.
Oh, yes, it's not that. Thank you, Vasudevan.
Awesome.
Dude, you're one of those who's always on our lives, so thank you for that. We appreciate the support.
Pitch has gone to sleep.
The pitch really has gone to sleep.
There's a lot to
Ashes.
get into today.
Yeah, that's true. We'll get into hopefully it's a lot smoother today than as compared to yesterday. We've had a fantastic day of cricket. No echo. Cool. Hey, thanks, Vignesh. Appreciate that a lot. A lot of opinions already coming in about KL Rahul and Rohit Sharma especially, and Shubman Gill. We'll talk about all of that. Hi, Anish. Hi, Vasudevan.
Get right into the
Meet. Yeah, we'll get right into the meet. Just wanted to say just wanted to say hi.
yeah.
Just wanted to acknowledge you guys. You guys take your time and come here. Whoa, Dilip listening from Canada. That's so cool. Hi,
What's
Sudarshan.
up, Sudarshan?
All right. So for those of you guys who are coming first into our live, we did this yesterday too, and we will do this every day of the first test match. We have a couple of segments. We will get into the top performers, the thunders and blunders down under, what's going to happen tomorrow, top performances of the day, and we will get into your questions and what you have to say. Hi Shrikant, hi Rudra. Hey, hi. So we'll get into all of that, and so that we have a crisp live and it's not just us going on and on and on about things. But yeah, do you want to get into the scorecard, Pratip?
Yeah, so firstly, great day's play for India.
Yes.
Australia have a lot of questions unanswered. But just going over the scorecards, Australia 104 all out. They started at 67 for 7 and they just got 25 runs for that final wicket. That's something we'll get into. But
Yep,
yeah, 104 all out. Bumrah getting a 5-wicket haul. Harshit Rana getting 3 wickets. And India 172 for no loss. When was the last time that India has batted out this much period of play without losing a wicket? So yeah, beautiful stuff. India lead by 218 runs.
Do you want to say the Bumrah stat?
Oh yeah, so Bumrah has now become the Indian bowler with most wickets in Sena countries, most 5-wicket hauls, not most wickets, and he's currently got 7 5-wicket hauls in Sena countries, which is insane.
He's equal Kapil Dev for again 7 5-wicket hauls. There's an interesting question which we'll get into. Tusky asked, why do you all hate KL Rahul?
No.
He's obviously performing. We'll get into all of that. That's an interesting question. But talking about the pitch, and before we get into the positives and negatives, the pitch, yes, has completely died down. I mean, a lot of commentators did predict this yesterday that it will get easier to bat on. The Perth pitch does have moisture to start off with, and then it becomes very batter friendly. But apparently, or according to the commentators at least, it is going to get worse. I don't know what worse means, worse for the bowlers or worse for the batters, but the cracks are meant to open up. So that's something they are predicting. There's an interesting stat that you told me about the seam and swing of Australian fast bowlers.
Very interesting start once again. So yesterday, obviously, there was visibly a little bit of swing and more seam movement than swing. But today, when Australia came to ball, it was the same amount of seam movement, except they were not getting the wickets because they were bowling it 80 centimeters shorter. So they were slightly shorter than yesterday, and that's why they might have beat the outside edge, but it did not translate.
Which
into
makes
wickets.
a big difference, by the way. And if you guys have questions on that, we will also talk about. There was a question that I picked up of why did the pitch change so fast. One of the reason is lack of moisture. So when a fresh test wicket, it's properly prepared, but after that you can't really touch it apart from the rollers that go on depending on the batter's side, like which kind of roller. But apart from that, you can't really do anything to the pitch, and because of the heat, the grass just dries down and wears down, and the pitch wears down because you're using it.
Plus, it's been very sunny. Like, there's been no overcast weather, nothing. It's just sun beating down throughout the last 2 days. So,
and according to the commentators and Australian commentators, that it's going to get hotter by the day, which means it's supposed to be hotter tomorrow, which means the pitch is going to get drier tomorrow. But let's get into. And we know that Bumrah did get that 5-wicket haul, but on the day he only got 1 wicket. So taking nothing away from him, he did get that important Alex Carey wicket. But Harshit Rana was phenomenal. He was consistent with his line and lengths, didn't leak a lot of runs. He had quite good pace, and even his bouncers were sharp. It wasn't just him bowling a bouncer for the sake of it, like a Manas in the last over of day's play. Sorry about that. But yeah, last over of day's play. But yeah, it wasn't like a Manas. Whoa. Why Prashant? Thank you so much for that $40, dude. This is the first ever live income. Oh, thank you so much. Love your channel, guys. Keep going. Like, we really appreciate that. I mean, you guys don't have to. You can. You won't say no to it, but we did. That was unexpected. But yeah, Harshit Rana and even the captaincy of things, right? I don't think a lot of things have been talked about the captaincy side of things. I mean, the relationship between Virat and Bumrah has been talked about, but not really the captaincy side of things. And that was seen until the last wicket. I mean, the field placements were quite right. Even loose balls would normally go to the fielder straight away. But we will talk about the last wicket, the 25-run partnership that Pratap really wants to get into. But before that, of course, that was the bowling side of things. Batting side, 172 for no loss. Phenomenal batting. Like, it was just what India needed. I don't think any of us would have expected it. A lot of us were talking about how hopefully this match goes on until day 3. And this is definitely going on to day 3. KL Rahul and Yashasvi Jaiswal not only leaving the ball on line but leaving the ball on length. Indian batters usually struggle to go down to Australia and then leave the ball on length, and that is what they did quite well. So that happened, leaving the ball on length. I talked about. Oh yeah, something very interesting is the fact that when batters go to Australia, they have a little change of the kind of bat they use. So the middle of the bat would normally in India be, how do I explain this? We have a lot of cricket bats behind you, but
You want me to pull one?
no, it's fine. So you would pick up a bat and you would see the middle of the bat. That is what you would use in Indian conditions. But when you go to Australia, the meat of the bat, like the middle of the bat, will be right above the normal. So it'll be right below the batting sticker. Because when you see these batters play on the up, the ball hits higher than usual, and you would want to see the ball move, as in go along the ground, but far away. And with these grounds, you want to hit long boundaries, which is why they make these certain kind of bats. Now, not all cricketers change their bats, but normally you would as a bat. And Sachin Tendulkar, famously, he did this quite a bit. Now, this was positives. I rambled on, but let's talk about the few negatives.
Yeah. All right. So the first thing in negatives, there's not.
Wait, Vasudevan, again, thank you for the $449. Have a cold beer, both of you. Both of us don't drink, but thank you for that.
We'll have some milkshake. But yeah, coming to the negatives, obviously there's not been too many, and I'm going to be very critical because I mean that's what we do as fans.
And Tasky, thank you for the $20.
Tasky, thank you for the $20. Yeah.
But again, thank you guys so much for all of this.
We really appreciate it. This is new for us. I didn't even know we had this enabled on our thing. So, but yeah, the point being, not many negatives. But one thing I want to get into is India not being able to get that final wicket. Of course, the pitch got a little easier to bat on, but Mitchell Starc and even Hazelwood, for that matter, applied themselves very well. One thing is the kind of field settings. We also put out a reel on it in the afternoon. But just a little more to elaborate on that is that India has been leaking lower order runs a fair bit in test matches. And the problem with that is, okay, right now the pitch has settled, so we're going to see higher scores. But in case this was a low scoring encounter, those 25 runs that they got, extremely crucial. And the thing is, not only was like the theory was proved by the fact that the field, as soon as it came in, as soon as Harshit Rana came into the attack and got mid on and mid off up, immediately Mitchell Starc tried to go over long on and he top edged it and he got out. So just keep your fielders inside. You can, like, I don't know why there's this thing, and it's not just an India thing. It is something that I've seen also other captains do, where they just want to keep an in-out field even for like the tail enders, which I don't think it makes sense. So yeah, that's one thing. Apart from that, Bumrah spelled too long. So let me know what you guys think about this. But I personally thought that Bumrah could have stopped his spell at 4 to 5 overs instead of going for 6-7 over spells. It's coming from a place of the fact that other Indian bowlers haven't bowled as much, and they could have been given a little more bowling. Also, the thing is, it's the first test match. It's a 5 test match series. The last thing you want is Bumrah to tire himself out this early. So that's just an observation. I'm sure he's extremely fit and he wouldn't have pushed himself unless he really could. But yeah, like that's just a point of concern from our end.
And there's a interesting Jaiswal technical, not negative, but just an observation.
Oh yeah, so that's actually how he got out in the first innings also. Jaiswal playing on the up, but more than Jaiswal playing on the up, if you'll notice every time he's like cover driving, his foot has not gone extremely to the pitch of the ball. His head position is a little off because his head stays where it is and it's only his hands that are moving more. And especially on pitches like Perth where there's a little bit of bounce, very often if he's trying to play on the up, he's going to get an outside edge, and that's what happened in the first innings. As opposed to someone like KL Rahul, who actually did very well in terms of weight transfer, and that's something you can clearly see as the point of difference. But obviously, taking nothing away, Jaiswal still batted extremely well.
To our top performers of the day, Harshit Rana, 3 for 48. Again, I talked about him. Bowled extremely well. And my other, this might be controversial, let me know what you guys think, but I would pick KL Rahul as a top performer of the day over Yashasvi Jaiswal, even though Jaiswal has scored a lot more, and Jaiswal in our top performers, as in we have written Jaiswal as our top performer, but we would pick KL Rahul just because of the discipline.
Yeah.
Like Pratap said, when KL Rahul drives the ball, his head goes towards the ball. When KL Rahul leaves the ball, he knows when to leave. And even when he leaves the ball, he decides that very, very late and has the bat very close to his body so that he doesn't fetch the ball. And all of this is a fantastic sign of a batter for someone who was coming in under so much pressure. I mean, we were talking about him. A lot of you guys think we don't like him, which is not true at all. But for someone like that, it's very, very interesting with how he's going about his innings. And I genuinely admire that. Again, taking nothing away from Jaiswal, he did get a chance. Khwaja dropped him. I mean, a lot of commentators were calling it a drop. I would call that a drop. It was a catch. But yeah, for us, it was Rahul and Rana for the day. Things that you guys are talking about from the stands. Now, let's pick out some questions. Now, of course, we've missed quite a few because we were rambling on, but So, I'll ask you this. Would it be fair on Rahul to change his batting position after Rohit's return to the side? He's playing really good with great technique. What do you think? Asad Ali, thank you so much for your question.
Cool. Very interesting question. We also spoke about this a little bit yesterday, how it almost isn't fair that KL Rahul will have to change his spot. Thing is, he knows, like he's known from the start of this test match that he is going to move down the order in the next test match. So from that perspective, I think he's a team man and he will, I mean, obviously he's not going to have his problems with it or not going to say it, but it does affect his rhythm, right? 100%. Like he's been batting so well at the top of the order. In fact, even the 3-century stands that India have had in Sena countries, he's been part of each of the stands and that's opening the innings.
That's true, yes.
Right?
Yes.
So from that perspective also, Rahul will obviously feel that he's been hard done by in some sense.
But what can he do?
There's nothing he can do.
We do have an opinion about this. We'll talk about that. You know, Tusky, so you asked a question, right? We're sorry we missed it, but how do I bowl dipping Yorkers like Bumrah with tennis ball? Is it possible? Now, I have no idea with tennis ball if it's possible or not. I mean, if you apply the physics of like,
if you get a taped tennis ball, if you get a seam on the tennis ball, like a tape seam, then possible. And if you can hit 150, 160, sure, it's possible.
I mean, I'm sure there's a better way to do this, to go about this. We aren't really sure of.
But there's actually a very good lecture on it by Sanjay Mittal that talks about like the dip that Bumrah gets when he balls Yorkers. We can link it down here.
We have also made a video on this, by the way. So you can go check that out.
Bumrah biomechanics video itself. So,
Zenith asks, if Gill recovers and Rahul scores 150 plus, it will be an interesting call for Gambhir as Rohit not getting any younger. Better Rohit bat lower down the order and not disturb the opening pair. Now, I mean, you can take it. Okay, it's the same thing as Pradip said. If Gill comes back, he's going to take the number 3 spot. Like no questions asked. With Rohit, we do have an opinion. Now, it's not that we dislike Rohit Sharma, and it's not that, I mean, for the last 5 years, he scored a lot of runs.
Yeah.
But do we really miss him as an opening batter?
No, and so we'll get into this, right, a little bit. The thing with Rohit Sharma, when he batted in England, in that England series where he got all those runs, he left the ball really well. If he's going to come to Australia and do that, sure, he can have that opening spot. But off late, that's not been the case at all. Like, Rohit Sharma has just thrown his bat at a lot of deliveries that he should not be. And especially with Pat Cummins, Josh Hazelwood, these guys are going to be on that off-stump line throughout their spells. And so, I mean, having Rohit there, you know he's going to come back. Like that's exactly what's going to happen.
The captain of India, he will open and all
exactly,
of that. Unless,
I
don't know.
Yeah, but the thing with KL Rahul now is his spot is secured. Like
his spot in the team is secured. Yeah,
that's 100%. For sure. He's going to be in the 11. Either Padikkal or Jurel are the ones who will go out. But yeah, I think KL Rahul's definitely secured a spot, probably for the series.
You know, there was an interesting question. And I might have to scroll up for this, but Asher asks, on commentary, Adam Gilchrist was talking about how Josh Hazelwood initially bowls off a back of a length, short of good length, and adjusts his length in his second spell. Do you believe that such an approach is inefficient? Now, this is a very interesting question because Josh Hazelwood, you're right, like on average, he would come bowl short of a good length, but that's because you're playing in Australia, and that's what got him wickets in the first innings. That's what got wickets in the first innings. In fact, in this, according to the stat, they were all bowling a bit shorter. I don't think it's inefficient because it's the right length you would bowl on these kind of pitches. But yes, in a pitch that is dying down and doing absolutely nothing, you might want to bowl it a little fuller. But if you're talking about generally, if this is what Josh Hazelwood does and if this is bad, I don't think it's bad. I think it's what Hazelwood, like it's how Hazelwood gets his accuracy anyway.
And the other thing also is that like the pitch, like the kind of pitch is very important, right? Like the reason he would be starting off with a slightly back of a length delivery is to see if there's any nip in the pitch itself, like any seam movement, because Josh Hazelwood is not much of a swinger of the ball as much as he's a seam bowler.
Yes.
And like he's very Magra-like in that sense, like he hits the same areas. And so, like, you'll see him go fuller in the next spell, as Ashwin said, if there's nothing that's happening in the pitch in terms of seam. That's when he'll probably go a little fuller and try to use his angle and all of that comes into play. So
Vasudevan asks an interesting question, and this is a good question. What is pickle juice and why was Jaiswal taking it? Jaiswal was taking pickle juice because he was cramping up. And there's this belief nowadays, and this I think started in the Australian camp, especially David Warner. And I don't remember in which book or article that I've read this, but I'm sure I've read this somewhere. David Warner would drink pickle juice that would allow his cramps to uncramp.
Yeah,
if that's a word.
For him to get better.
Yeah, for him to feel better about his body. And this has spread all over. So much so that it was in the IPL a couple of years ago, and now we see the Indian management following it. So I don't know if this is pseudoscience or if this is actual science. I don't know the science behind it, but it's a thing.
The basic science would be that pickle is salty and that's similar to electrolytes, which would help cramps in some sense.
I am not agree or disagree.
I am not a nutritionist either. I think my camera has stopped.
Yeah, but that is basically the idea of pickle juice.
I'm back. Yeah.
Now we'll take 2-3 more questions. Yeah. And if you have any questions.
Yeah, pickle juice has a lot of electrolytes, especially sodium. Yeah, salt. See, told you.
Fair. Star edits.
That's sodium chloride.
By chance, if India wins this test match, would Jasprit Bumrah still continue to captain India in the second test? I don't see that happening.
It's not going to happen, but I really wish it would happen. Actually, it'll be interesting to see.
You know what?
Are you going to disagree?
No. I was just going to say, a lot of people said this about Rahane. Remember when Rahane won the BGT in Australia? Yeah. Why can't he be the captain again?
Yeah.
Just because...
You have a designated captain. So
at that point, I would say just because he's not... I don't know. Yeah, I mean, Virat was doing fine.
Yeah.
But Rohit just lost a series at home.
I think that's more of a long-term question. It depends on how... It'll be very interesting to see that once Rohit is back, how the dynamic shifts in some sense. True. Like, how is the team doing? Because right now, like, the team is also a good mixture of youngsters who are there in the squad, and it just feels very lively in that sense. And Bumrah seems to be adjusting very well to captaincy. Also, a lot of camera around Kohli and Bumrah and their chat. kind of nice to watch because we love Kohli, the captain. At least
Yes.
I do. So yeah, it was nice to watch. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, so there was a question related to an injury and what you should do. So we are not doctors. We can talk to you about technique and cricket, and we'll more
stick to that.
often than not
Yeah.
back that.
Yeah.
Injuries and stuff, no way do we want to give an advice to you
Yeah.
because we'd probably be wrong 8 out of 10 times. Is there another question that you can see?
Can we generally just request Rohit? Cool. What else?
Right. Raja Simha asks, pitch is better today, but why we couldn't score at run rate of 3 or more? I think just because India wanted to be more watchful, and I think it's absolutely fine to do that. Something people need to understand that this is a test match, first day of a test match in a foreign condition, day 2. Sorry, I said first day.
Yeah, you said
day
first
2 of the test match, but first test match.
Hmm.
And it's absolutely fine to be watchful because you have 3 more days. You'd rather be watchful, have a 172 for no loss by the end of the day, than try attacking and have 150 for 2 by the end of day. Especially when the pitch is getting better to bat on.
Exactly. Yeah.
And so you would want to be very watchful. You would want to have as many wickets as you can, especially knowing how Indian batters just collapse.
Yeah, that's actually something that's very scary. Like I still fear a collapse, and because the pitch is getting slightly better to bat on, you want to make sure that you can get as many runs because you have 3 full days of cricket left. That's like 270 overs.
Yeah.
So that, and also the thing is, India would have taken a leaf out of Australia's book for that last partnership because
Yes.
the softer the ball got, the easier it got to bat. The pitch got so much better, and like it would make no sense for India to just come out and try and attack unnecessarily because the thing is, it would also be a deviation from KL Rahul's natural game, who in the first innings batted a certain way. He's used that same template and he's got his rewards. So why would he want to deviate from that?
Correct. Now, this is a good segue to our next segment and our last segment for tomorrow.
Cool. So what happens tomorrow? India is leading by 218 runs. It's only going to be day 3 of the test match. In an ideal scenario, you would want India to bat the entire day or bat at least up till tea and after, like just have like 10 overs left in the day and put Australia in. India will want to make sure that they have a lead of at least 400, 450 to be safe. Hopefully. Morning session is going to be extremely important. There might be a little bit of moisture because of the morning itself. But yeah, other than that, it should be good for batting, and India will hope that they can stay watchful in that first half an hour, 1 hour, because post that it's just going to be runs and they'll just have to cash in and make sure they put bad balls away. So that's one thing. What else have we got? Bat the entire day, 200 plus runs. I've covered it all.
I have a question for you. I know you guys can't see me, but do you think the slower the pitch gets or the pitch gets as worse, it's advantage India because of the kind of pitches we have in India?
It's advantage India in the sense that the spinners will come into play a little bit. Spinner, Washington Sundar might come into play a little bit because also Mitchell Stark will be leaving those foot marks with his big left foot. And also because the cracks will start to open up even more as the sun beats down, you will see a little bit of uneven bounce. Already there is a little, there will be deviation. We hope to see something like Mitchell Stark's ball to James Vince in terms of deviation. But yeah, like I think overall, India still have to make sure that they ball good lines and lengths. Otherwise, it's just going to be a less potent pitch and it'll come down to batsmen's errors more. So India have to force that error out of the batsman. That's what I feel.
Yeah. And that's the life for today. We did not know we have super chats.
Yeah.
So for those guys who sent us whatever money, thank you so much for that. Like we genuinely appreciate it. Yeah.
And also for all of you that have joined
of course.
chatting.
Like thank you so much for joining.
Yeah,
and
this is
like,
crazy.
I forgot your name. I'm sorry about that. But the guy from Canada, it was again unreal to know that you are joining to listen to us from Canada. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. This has been day 2 of our live. We will do this every day of the first test match. If the response is well and good and you guys should let us know, we will continue this throughout the series. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. This has been an absolute belter of a day for batsmen.
100%.
And yeah, thank you so much for watching. Do you have... like, share and subscribe.
Yes, definitely subscribe. There's a lot of you who haven't subscribed. So go do it. I be looking at the analytics. Please subscribe. Also share it with your friends who are like cricket
Cricket
geeks.
fans, yeah.
Yeah, and we can hang out on the chat. We can hang out on live. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of
We'll
banter.
do this more often. We'll
Yeah.
talk to each other. We'll get to know each other. We also put out a video yesterday, actually today morning at 1 a.m.
Oh, yeah.
about how
Batting.
the amount of runs scored by batters have drastically come down from 1995 to 2024. In fact, 2024 is lowest.
Worst year for batters in terms of averages. Highest in terms of run rate.
Yes. So
But yeah, check
very
it out.
interesting video.
Yeah.
You guys should check that out. Let us know what you think of it. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for joining.
Yeah, and also
us.
lastly, if we're missing out on any comments, really sorry. Like we're trying our best to keep up.
Yeah.
But
We're sorry about
yeah,
that.
like don't feel bad about it.
Don't feel bad at all. Because we'll do this every day, we'll pick out different people and we'll shout out you guys who've supported us. We did this in the New Zealand series and we know some of you guys.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you so much. Bye bye. We'll see you tomorrow.
Peace.